when it comes to every hire that you make. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, what at this point, what are you wanting? This is a good hire. This is a guy that, as you mentioned, he's been in the NBA. He's been there for a long time. He's been successful. I mean, look, the guy keeps getting jobs. If he was that bad at his job, he wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about, well, you know, he didn't really have all that much success in Minnesota. That team's 6-4 in their last 10 games. That's an extremely young team that is starting to get their stuff together. That team no longer last in the Western Conference. That's actually Houston, who has been god-awful. And Oklahoma City is only a game ahead of them in the win column. So this is my point is it's a team that you're seeing some of their young pieces evolve, and you have to give him some credit for that. There is going to be a portion of the guys on this recruiting trail that are going to look at him and say, look, this guy has gotten it done in the NBA. He's going to be able to coach me up the way that I want to be coached to give me a chance to go to the NBA. And, I mean, look, the other thing is like, you know, all these guys are going to work together. I mean, I think that these fans were expecting that Carolina was going to hire somebody that was basically going to be the guy that was going to put his hand up Hubert's back and be the puppet master. That you have to trust that Hubert Davis is the right guy. There are some things that Hubert Davis is going to have to do by himself to prove he's the head coach. You've got guys that can help you. I mean, Jeff Lebo's had coaching experience. Pat Sullivan's had a lot of coaching experience as well. And you got Brad Frederick still on the staff, who's been coaching for a while now, and Sean May, who's been there for a few years. So you got some crutches to lean on. But ultimately, I mean, look, this is a solid staff. Is this a superstar staff? No, but here's the other.
It doesn't have to be.
Who are these proven entities that fit what we heard from Hubert Davis that you think are better fits than the guys that are here right now? Because I'm here to tell you, if you think that Jeff McGinnis is automatically going to come in there and be a superstar, look, Jeff McGinnis is doing great stuff around here in terms of coaching Combine Academy, which is one of the up-and-coming national, what do they classify? Prep schools. Yeah. In the country in terms of basketball. He's doing a great job on the AAU circuit. Moving up and coaching in college basketball, it's a step up. It's going to take some growth.
Well, I think the thing is that you don't have to have superstar. You don't have to have an all-star staff at Carolina. You should have basketball people. What he has around him are proven people that know the game of basketball, and Carolina can sell itself on the recruiting trail. You've got Hubert Davis, who's a great recruiter. You've got Sean May, who's a great recruiter. Pat Sullivan, his NBA experience will be proven on the recruiting trail as well. But this isn't it's not as important as when Mack Brown got hired, that Mack Brown had to give himself a great staff to give Carolina a chance. Hubert Davis doesn't have a great staff. Carolina will still be good, even if they don't have the best coaching staff in the ACC, because he's got enough. There's still going to be enough talent, and he's got people that know the game that will coach the game to these kids.
Well, the other thing is college basketball, you can have a rather lackluster staff or a relatively unknown staff. But if you've got the right head coach, your team can be extremely successful. In college football, there are so many different elements to the game. Like, look, Mack Brown can't coach every element of college football. There's just too much going on. So you have to have guys below you. You have to hire the right guys that you can delegate to. And I think that's why that's a little bit of an unfair comparison. You know, we said, look, putting a good staff around you that can support you in the way that Mack Brown did is important. But this is a good staff. Here's a great way to phrase this question. If you added Pat Sullivan to Roy Williams' staff last year, who would you rank ahead of him as a better assistant? Probably Steve Robinson, and that might be it. Maybe Hubert, but I think it'd be pretty close. I mean, that's a good hire. Jeff Lebo has experience. I don't know. He would probably be right around where Brad Frederick is, but that's my thing. It's not like they are hiring random unknown guys that are, first-time coaches or whatever. They are hiring guys that have been in coaching for a while. Granted, they may not have gotten it done to the standards at which some of these people believe they should have gotten it done, but these guys have been around in the coaching game for a reason. Jeff Lebo may not have taken a team to the NCAA tournament. Hey, how many years did he coach for? It was what? Almost 20 years? There's a reason he kept getting jobs. He doesn't suck. Let's just, come on, man. Like this topic is driving me nuts with this, where whenever we hire a guy who, when I first saw the reports, we were excited about. And you see these people on social media that just keep pushing and poking at anything that they can get after about the history of these guys. And eventually, you come up feeling like, geez, they just took all the fun out of any of these hires.
Well, and
it's unbelievable.
The thing I've stressed the most is that he surrounded himself with guys who have experience. Your least experienced staff member is Jackie Manuel, and he's got over 10-plus years of experience. Or no, it's actually Sean May. But it's
pathetic.
But Sean May has he is
pathetic. He doesn't have 40 years of coaching experience. Loser.
That's what I get. You don't get promoted by Roy Williams unless you're really good at what you're being asked to do.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, man.
So more on Roy Williams. Hubert Davis, in his 2 interviews he did this past week, he gave out a lot of news for Carolina. Touched on the topic of how he became the next head coach and really dove into Roy Williams' retirement. Look, there was a lot of reports after the retirement of Roy Williams that this had been a discussion for the last 3 years, and none of us, and myself included, we refused to believe that. He confirmed that was actually true. And that was something that after 2019, he said when they would go alone recruiting, it was pretty much him gauging his interest in the job and saying, like, look, I'm getting close to retiring. I'm getting tired. I want to spend more time with my family. Would you be interested in becoming the next head coach? And Hubert Davis said, when the time was right, I told him, I want to be a head coach, but I want to be the head coach here. And, we always thought for Wes Miller and for even the guys on his staff, Gerard Haas, for them to be one day become the head coach here, well, you got to leave and go prove yourself somewhere else. But that was proven to not be true. And I really thought that was interesting because you thought back in 2019, you just went to the Sweet 16. You won your most regular season ACC games in program history. You swept Duke in the regular season. You had the number one the number one point guard recruit coming in. You thought there's no way in crap Roy's retiring because he wants to get another championship. The program was probably still the best program in the country. So, we would have thought more so in 2020. 14-19, your worst season ever. Then you lead, So what it proves is that a lot of people thought this was a COVID-driven decision. It was not. This has been on his mind for the last couple of seasons. Wanda, wanted him to retire back in 2009.
Wicked Wanda, baby.
And we got 12 more years out of him. And so I think, that was neat. And he also said, look, I was guilty as anybody. After we beat Duke on senior night, he kissed the floor. Everyone thought, well, man, is that his way of saying goodbye? And I firmly believe, look, he's not leaving. That was just him caught up in the moment. Just really thankful, really emotional. It's been a tough year on him personally as a head coach. He told Hubert Davis the next day that he was retiring. And so that was just something that, in those moments that, the next time that, if Hubert Davis ever kisses the floor at Carolina, unless he does it after the season opener, after next season, that's probably a sign telling us that, this guy is going to retire and we got to find us a new head coach. But Roy Williams seems to be enjoying retirement. As we let off with the show with Roy Williams Day, we wish him the well. I can't believe he's already been retired over a month. It's been a crazy month since he's
well, to be fair, that week felt like a couple of months.
Yeah.
That was, man, that was tough.
Sure. And so lastly, before we get here, we'll touch on recruiting because there's been some more news coming out on the recruiting trail. Carolina has secured visits from top NC prospect Deontay Green from the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina, and Justin Taylor. Both of those guys will be on campus in June. And Deontay Green's number one player in the state of North Carolina. He will be the number one prime prospect for Hubert Davis to land. And if he doesn't land him, Lord knows Carolina fans will have something else to write and complain about. And the last two notes, he's offered 2 5-star players this week. Jalen Washington from Indiana, a power forward who's already been heavily recruited by the Hoosiers in just about every major Big Ten program from up there, and Chris Livingston. He's from Akron, Ohio. His game has been praised by LeBron James, an elite wing in the next class. That's the type of guy that Carolina, if Carolina can bring him in, that would be a really big recruiting win for Hubert Davis. Who's still looking for that first-time big signature recruit to commit to the Tar Heels.
I got to say this because I saw this right before we got on air. There was somebody that commented under the Livingston post, said, well, he's a 5-star. Do we know that this guy's not a one and done? I mean, it's literally everything. They could win a title and they would find something that's wrong with it. Yes, we want these kids. I mean, come on. Like,
here's the thing.
We've heard from Hubert that he wants guys that are Carolina guys. He wants guys that want to come in and build themselves in the program into NBA guys, but help the program win. He's not going to take these guys if he looks at them and says to himself, they don't give me the feel of Carolina guys. Like, I just don't understand. Like, we're a month in. Can we trust Hubert at all here? Like, there seems to be no trust level in him when it comes to anything that he does. There is always somebody saying, well, you know, there's plenty of downside to this. I don't know if this is the right move. He was hired for a reason. If Roy Williams really did not think that he was the right guy for the job, he would have said, we need to look outside the family. Yeah. I truly feel that. So let's trust what he's doing here. He's going after these guys on the recruiting trail for a reason. And yes, we do want these guys. They're going to help your front court depth. We need these guys.
Well, I mean, look, everyone was complaining about Roy Williams not getting involved in one and done recruiting. There might be a chance that Hubert Davis might be even more pickier with the one and dones that he recruits because, as he mentioned, if you're coming to Carolina, you've got to be involved, and that means not just playing for the basketball program. That's doing all the stuff on campus, so where you can have a great college experience. I firmly believe that had they had that this year, I don't think Walker Kessler leaves your program because Carolina, it's different in every aspect out on the court and off the court. Not many schools in the country can offer what Carolina can offer, in terms of athletics and academics and the community. And so I do think the ones that he does target, he does believe they fit what he wants as he continues to grow the program. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Before we let you go, get you guys over to the website, HeelToughBlog.com, where we had you covered on all the basketball news this week about the return of Armando Bacot, the last 2 guys that Carolina has offered, plus an article about Pat Sullivan being added to the staff, an article about Deontay Green's visit to Carolina, how important that is. So we've had you covered on the football side of things.
Schedule 1 as well.
Schedule 1 is up there. It's up today. Yes, Carolina's going to be in the Mohegan Sun event next year, and they're also going to play UCLA in the CBS Sports Classic. So even though we have entered the off-season mode for Carolina, or for the basketball season, we still have you covered on the football side of things. We just got done concluding the spring game. The NFL draft's just wrapped up. Anthony did a great job getting you guys covered with great articles, interviews, and podcasts. So we got you covered on the football and basketball side of things. As we mentioned a couple weeks ago, right now we're not covering baseball. We've just been too covered up with our jobs, and then of course all the football and basketball news. But if you want to write about about the Diamond Heels, feel free to reach out to either one of us or the Heel Tough Blog Facebook or Twitter page, and we'll talk to you about that opportunity. And speaking of that, if you guys have seen on Facebook, the Four Corners podcast is now doing the waveforms as well. Just really a way to drive some content. You've done a great job interacting with that. But that's really for us to push, getting you to like and follow the Facebook page. Every article, every podcast, every piece, everything we do for the blog, you can find on Facebook.
Plus, video podcast may be coming back soon.
We have re-secured our studio to do the video podcast. You can see our ugly mugs once again talking about the Tar Heels. But
way to really sell it there,
everything we do gets put on the Twitter and the Facebook pages. Right. Just search, like, and follow the Heel Tough blog or the Heel Tough blog. And lastly, we would encourage you guys to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. The podcast has enjoyed great success since we became the Four Corners podcast.